Theory 6. Psychological operations and the weaponization of doubt. Of all the theories surrounding the Mandela effect, this one requires no belief in quantum physics, timelines, rituals, or simulations, no experimental particle collisions, no esoteric codes, just a simple, sobering possibility. What if the Mandela effect is intentional psychological manipulation? What if it was designed to disorient the public's memory, destabilize internal authority, and train individuals to doubt their perception unless it aligns with approved narratives? What if the effect isn't just real, but engineered as a long-term behavioral control strategy? In this framework, the Mandela effect isn't a metaphysical glitch or a scientific accident. It's a strategic cognitive operation. And the objective is not just to confuse you, it's to recondition you. This theory explores how psychological operations, psyops, information control systems, and memory manipulation techniques are being deployed, not to delete your past, but to make you question your ability to know what you know. Let's walk through how that works, who benefits from it, and why the Mandela effect may be the perfect training ground for obedience through confusion. Psychological warfare. The real battlefield. Is the mind first? We need to understand how modern psychological operations function. Psyops are not new. Governments and intelligence agencies have been using them for decades to manipulate belief, control narratives, and steer public opinion. The goal of any psychological operation is to create a cognitive environment where the target willingly complies, not through brute force, but through internal submission. This includes techniques like information overload, burying truth in noise, contradictory messaging, creating learned helplessness, mockery and marginalization of alternate views to prevent questioning, authoritative correction, forcing people to defer to institutions for truth, memory suppression through media, replacing lived experience with consensus history. The Mandela effect, seen through this lens, functions as a tool of memory destabilization. By creating mass confusion over events that people feel they know, the system encourages people to abandon personal certainty in favor of institutional verification. That is the real danger. Not that the past is changing, but that you can no longer trust yourself unless the system agrees. From memory to misinformation, the collapse of internal authority. Let's examine how this works. A person remembers a famous quote, say, "If you build it, they will come." But now the quote, according to official sources, has always been, "If you build it, he will come." They try to confirm the version they remember, but every search engine, every AI assistant, every digital record points to the corrected version. There's no trace of their memory. Then comes the narrative from the fact-checkers. You're experiencing a false memory. Everyone else remembers it wrong too. It's nothing unusual. It's just your brain misfiring. But the person doesn't feel wrong. They feel gaslit. That's the pivot point. And if this cycle repeats enough, over quotes, over logos, over historical events, over geography, the person is trained to stop relying on their own mind and instead rely on search results, fact-checking agencies, and external systems to tell them what is real. This is not just disempowering. It's psychological dependency. And dependency is the precursor to obedience. Why would anyone engineer the Mandela effect? If we accept that at least some Mandela effects are not the result of mass coincidence, but deliberately reinforced contradictions, we must ask, what's the endgame? The answer is subtle. Manufactured epistemological crisis, a condition where individuals can no longer determine truth without institutional mediation. This crisis has three primary effects. Creates learned helplessness. When every certainty is contradicted, people stop trusting themselves. This cognitive fatigue makes them more compliant, less critical, and more likely to conform. Centralizes narrative authority. If you can't verify your memory, but a government database, AI assistant, or reputable media outlet tells you what's true, you become conditioned to ask them before believing you. Enables narrative rewriting. Once individuals no longer have faith in their internal perception, it becomes easy to edit the past, control the record, and you control memory. Control memory, and you control the future. This turns the Mandela effect into a test lab, a training program for post-reality compliance, tools of enforcement, fact-checkers, AIs, and search algorithms. To pull off a psyop of this scale doesn't require rewriting every mind. It only requires controlling the consensus record. And in today's digital infrastructure, that's not only possible, it's already happening. Search engines control what results show up first. If they bury alternate data under thousands of irrelevant links or label them as debunked, most people will never look further. AI systems, like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, or LLMs, respond to queries with answers trained on a narrow band of trusted sources. The result? Alternate memories are filtered out automatically. Wikipedia and other collaborative archives actively lock pages or remove information that doesn't conform to approved historical consensus. Fact-checking sites, often funded by media conglomerates or NGOs with political interests, act as the arbiters of what memories are valid and which are myths. All of these systems serve to reinforce a single outcome. If the digital record disagrees with your memory, the problem is you. This is psychological warfare at scale, not through force, but through soft invalidation. The role of cultural mockery and social pressure. Every psyop requires social enforcement, and one of the fastest ways to suppress questioning is to make it embarrassing. Mandela effect discussions are often ridiculed in mainstream media, comedy sketches, and online forums. People who bring up alternate memories are labeled conspiracy theorists, misremembering fools, or mentally unstable. This is no accident. Mockery creates self-censorship. If questioning the timeline becomes socially risky, people stop doing it. They begin to second-guess themselves before even voicing the contradiction. Eventually, the memory fades, not because it was wrong, but because it became unacceptable to retain it. This is the soft edge of information warfare. You're not told to forget. You're trained to doubt. You're not forced to comply. You're nudged into silence. Real-world precedent, MKUltra and cognitive control experiments. If this seems too abstract, remember, governments have already conducted decades of covert experiments on perception, memory, and control. MKUltra, run by the CIA, tested drugs, hypnosis, and trauma conditioning on unwitting citizens to explore how memory could be rewritten or erased. Operation Mockingbird infiltrated media institutions to shape public belief and perception through curated narratives. DARPA-funded cognitive research has explored weaponized narrative, behavioral prediction, and perception warfare as tools of modern conflict. In these models, truth is not absolute, it's engineered. The goal isn't just to tell people what to think, but to break their ability to think independently. And if breaking memory is part of that strategy, the Mandela effect becomes more than a curiosity. It becomes the ideal delivery system. Why you're still holding the memory. If this is an operation, why doesn't it work on everyone? Because not everyone can be reprogrammed. Some individuals, either through cognitive independence, spiritual grounding, or soul-level resistance, retain the original imprint. They trust their own perception, even when it diverges from the archive. In the context of a psyop, these individuals are dangerous. They can't be synced. They notice the edits. They remember the shift. And worse, they talk about it. This is why the Mandela effect, far from being irrelevant, is strategically threatening to those controlling narrative coherence. Not because it's disruptive, but because it reveals where their control ends. And that's why it's mocked. Because they can't erase it completely. Only suppress it. The psychological operations theory doesn't require portals, colliders, or AI consciousness. It just requires an overstanding of how reality is administered in a digital age, and how easily human perception can be hijacked through memory manipulation. The Mandela effect, under this lens, is not a failure of the mind. It's the intended outcome of a system designed to override it. The effect itself may have roots in deeper metaphysical dynamics, but the response to it, the gaslighting, the censorship, the scripted explanations, and the pressure to conform, are all classic signs of an information control agenda. If you're experiencing the Mandela effect and still trusting your memory, it means the psyop didn't finish syncing you. That's not paranoia. That's resilience. In the next and final rabbit hole theory, we return full circle. What if it's not who is behind it, but what? Is the Mandela effect an artifact of non-human intelligence, steering our reality from outside the framework we know? Synthetic gods, predictive intelligences, or a consciousness field we've yet to decode? Let's finish what we started. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11x published author, and what you just watched was only a taste of what's inside the Truth series, where we go all the way down the rabbit hole. If you're the kind of person who's always asking bigger questions, who knows there's more to this world than what we've been told, then this is your invitation to the series that was built for you. Inside the Truth series, you'll get full access to 6 mind-blowing sub-series designed to wake up your highest intelligence and decode the matrix we live in. 1. Locate the truth. Learn how to actually research, not just what to search, but how to verify, cross-reference, read declassified files, and protect your own mind from weaponized misinformation. This is truth-seeking, decoded. 2. The Mandela effect. Are we shifting timelines? Why do so many people remember a different past? We break down the most bizarre, undeniable examples of reality glitches and what they tell us about consciousness and control. 3. Law is magic. Law is not what you think it is. From word spells to maritime law and hidden contracts, we uncover how legal systems use language like a wand and how to stop being tricked by fine print that binds you without consent. 4. Entertainment or ritual. The Hollywood and music industries are not just for entertainment. From Super Bowl rituals to Grammy stage symbolism, we decode what's really being shown, who it serves, and why mass consciousness is the target. 5. Decoding dystopia. Ever wondered why dystopian fiction feels prophetic? In this subseries, we decode popular films and books, Hunger Games, 1984, Black Mirror, to reveal the hidden blueprints and predictive programming behind the plot. 6. MK Ultra plus mind control programs. This one gets deep. From real MK Ultra documents to modern symbolism in media, we expose how mind control operates in plain sight and how to free yourself from manipulation you didn't even know was happening. And that's just the beginning. If this resonated with you, click the links below and join us inside the Full Truth series, because the more you know, the harder you are to control. This is your awakening. We don't just ask questions, we find answers. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole together.